My name is Duncan McNeil, and this is my speech on looking out for yourself. If you smoked, would you tell a man not to smoke? If you were an alcoholic, would you tell a man not to drink alcohol? If you neglected your own pets, would you tell someone else to take care of their own? Then why would you take on other people's issues when you already have plenty on your plate? I believe that we can all agree that in this day and age, mental issues and mental health is a very difficult subject for many of us. There are plenty that have their own issues that they struggle with, and we're all finding our own ways to deal with it. People are very likely to make things worse by helping others if they don't have themselves pulled together. My name is Duncan McNeil. I'm 18 years old, and mental health is something that I understand very intimately. How our thoughts and emotions can affect us and affect others we're close to is something that I'm very familiar with. I've had serious mental issues in the past and have since found ways to understand, cope, and conquer them. I'm going to talk about my battle with mental health, why you should help yourself before helping others, and how you can effectively help yourself. First, here's my story. Ever since I was a young boy, I moved from place to place, even though I always lived in the same house. I bounced school system all throughout elementary and middle school, and I just never was happy. I never fit in anywhere, and my parents weren't happy with it either. It became very difficult to make friends, and I justified this by saying I wasn't going to be there very long anyways, so why make friends? It'll just hurt me in the long run. I wasn't much of a social butterfly, which didn't really help either, but without friends, I never had a proper support system, which caused me to internalize many of my own issues, leading to later habits, which were hard to break. I had moved through several school systems, like I previously mentioned. And by the time I hit high school, I had developed depression. I was sad all the time, and it came in big bursts, to where some days I was inconsolable and other days I was fine. We're social creatures, and as such, without that social interaction, we become very confused. Our minds don't know what to do, and it acts out in different ways. And although I did end up making friends in high school who did help me with my own issues, I often tried to take other people's issues on and added it to my own, which wasn't very healthy and put me in a bad place. I shared this story with you so you could better understand the next point. Helping other people while you are still struggling with your own mental health is not always the best idea. While I was dealing with my own issues, I was very bitter towards people who had friends who cared for them. I was bitter at the cards that I was dealt, and I was ultimately an angry person. My anger led me to be snappy and easily irritated, which caused me to lash out at the people who cared for me. I could not give effective advice to people I was trying to help because, just like an alcoholic convincing someone not to drink, my advice was not the healthiest. I ended up causing others to struggle with their own issues because I was not strong enough to deal with both of our problems, and neither were they, which ended up hurting us both. With all that being said, how can you help yourself? I had finally realized I had to get my own mess under control before I could help others. And that's exactly what I did. I found time for myself to understand my own issues through both therapy and self-reflection. I became willing to help myself and became determined to stop being my own victim. I opened myself up and shared everything I had kept bottled up, which in turn helped me clear my head and allowed room for positivity. I shared my story with other people, which allowed myself to become vulnerable to the people in my life who genuinely cared about me. Lastly, when I pulled myself back together and became stable again, I began to build up others just as my friends and family had done for me. Now, what will you do? I had my fair share of issues, which had put me in a bad spot growing up. And even though I had good intentions, I'd ultimately hurt myself and others. around me by trying to help without helping myself. Finally, I had come to the realization that I had my own issues which held me back from helping others and ultimately helping myself. And I found the time to fix them before helping others. People are more likely to hurt themselves or others by trying to take on others' burdens without dealing with their own. We all want to help others be the best that they can be, just like how we want the best for ourselves. However, sometimes we are blind to our own issues and hurt the people we care about. We all have our own flaws and issues we must deal with, and even though we want to help others through their issues, we must step back and ask ourselves if we are stable enough to do so. That being said, are you able to help yourself?